The single best running tip. So I'm 43. I've been running for about 13 years. On and off, seriously, not so seriously. I've taken a 2-month break right now. Haven't ran anything over 3 miles in well over 2 months. That's because I've had plantar fasciitis, and it was really hurting me. My talus bone was out. The chiropractor just fixed it a couple weeks ago. I did a 3-mile run 3 days ago. So what's the number one tip for runners? How can you improve your running? How can you step your game up? I think runners are always looking for the next level. What can I do? What's out there? Is there a secret formula? Is there a food I can eat? Is there a specific technique I can start training? Do I have to run harder? Do I have to run smarter? Do I have to run faster? Do I have to run further? Do I have to have more break days? I mean, I've heard it across the whole board from runners like, hey, I'm doing this because I know I can get these results. Or have you heard about this technique? Have you heard about this training tip? Have you heard about these shoes? And here's the number one tip that I'm going to share that I've learned over the years is your mind. Running is a mind game. Once you condition your body, once your body's conditioned, and conditioning your body is a mind game. It's a matter of going out there and just doing it. Just get out and run. People say, oh, I can't run, or I can't run a marathon, I can't run a half marathon. I have 2 friends who last week who ran a 14-miler and one person who ran a 16-miler that I talked to this week. And I said, hey, there's this great race in Elmville this week. It's called Satan's Tar. It's a 9-miler. They're like, oh, yeah, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, it's 2,000 feet of elevation gain. They're calling it Satan's Tar because you run straight up the mountain. They're like, oh, I could never do that. I would never do that. I'm not in shape for that. I'm like, you just ran 15 miles last week. What do you mean you're not in shape for 9 miles? So these people have talked themselves out of doing something. And where I live in the Hudson Valley, it's beautiful. I'm driving up a small mountain here right now. And it's magnificent, beautiful land here, but it's very hilly, very mountainous. There's not much flat running where I'm at. Even in the neighborhoods here, you can run a 10K around town and still gain 500 feet of elevation through a 10K, which is a kind of a really hilly 10K course. So tomorrow's run that I'm doing, Satan's Tar, is at 2,000 feet of elevation gain, 9 miles. It's up and back, which means you're going to do all that gain in 4.5 miles. And I got all these people, friends and people that are scared of this run. And I'm like, but you've run further, you've run faster, you've done more than this. You've run, and they're just like, I just could never do that. I'm not that kind of runner, or this or that. Same thing with marathons. People say, oh, I could never run a marathon, right? I could never do that. And I learned a long time ago from a friend of mine, Frank Guiliano, and he said to me, Marcus, when I first met him 15 years ago, he goes, Marcus, can you run, it actually was 13 years ago when I met him. I had terrible knee pains. Somebody goes, you got to go see him. He's great. Never had knee pains since then. By the way, my shoes were all messed up that I went to him with. But he said, Marcus, if you can run 1 mile, you can run 26. And I never have forgotten that. And when I've taken friends to go see him, he'll tell them the same exact thing. He said I've heard him say it to other people. If you can run 1, you can run 26. It's just repetition. You find your pace, you find your groove, you find where you're comfortable, and you just go. But a lot of people don't think of it like that. They think of this marathon or this 9-mile race that I'm doing tomorrow as some glorified, spectacular, monumental task that just can't be done, that not many people are actually qualified to do it, or that they're not qualified to do it. And I gotta tell you, you are qualified to do it. And I haven't ran in 2 months. And I spoke to another friend today. I said, hey, are you running tomorrow? And she's like, I'm like, go ahead and register, because I'm going to register too. Let's go do it. And, I said, I have nothing to lose tomorrow. I have zip, zero, zilch, nothing to lose. When I don't stand on that line, that starting line, and hear that gun go off, or however they're going to call the race, that's when I lose. When I'm not on that starting line, that's when I lose. I ran a 30K, very mountainous run one time with a urinary tract infection. Talk about painful, talk about the most uncomfortable thing I've ever done. I was like, it was insane. I was the last person to cross the finish line. It took me 4 hours and 56 minutes. The following year when I did the race, I did it in 2:40. So It doesn't matter how you finish. The only thing that matters is that you start. And if you don't start that 9-miler going up the mountain, how do you know you're ever going to do it? But these people have told themselves right up front, I can't do it. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're probably right. And that's the bottom line. People talk themselves out of doing this. Then they make excuses like, well, I don't have a runner's body for marathons, or I'm out of shape, or this or that. I gotta tell you, 2 months, no running, I'm not conditioned to run. I'm totally not conditioned to run. And should I be doing the race? What do I have to lose is what I'm telling myself. I'm not gonna do as well as I would have done a year ago, 6 months ago. But the bottom line is I've zip, zero, zilch, nothing to lose. You have nothing to lose until you just go for it. Just do it, just go. You wanna run a marathon? Go run a marathon. Condition your body, get a plan, and get in the game. It's all about mental game. Eric Orton's book, fantastic runner, training guy in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. The guy's all about mind game. You listen to some of these other books and read some of these other books from some of these ultra distance guys. It's all a mind game. That's what it's first. Trick your mind, convince your mind, tell your mind something, tell your mind, set your mind, and then do it. You will do it. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano. Thanks for watching. If you like my vids, please hit like, subscribe to my channel, definitely pass it on, and leave some comments.